All right, then. We are now ready for the next session. I must make stuff. If I don't, I will go crazy. So I make crazy stuff. This is what Hans Gerhard wrote to us for his application. So we couldn't say no, we just said, well, this sounds great. So now I'm really excited to hear what we're going to hear about. Take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so now we've had almost 2 full days of talks, workshops, and I've been sitting in the audience listening to great talks, and I'm sort of more and more working up the courage to go up here and tell you guys that I'm a maker. I'll try and make that point through this talk, but today, really, what makes me a maker? I put these on just to sort of, get into the mood. And I really, whenever I'm at home and I have to fix something, I find my pants and I put the pants on. I'm the maker in the house. So this is sort of giving me a little bit of flight power. I grew up in a small town, industrial town in Norway called Notodden. It's very small. It's a place people drive past going elsewhere. But on the right, there's a drawing of how I was expecting my workspace to look when I was getting older or getting to be an adult. At the same time as I lived in Notodden, there were some other influences that sort of caught my attention. And I don't know how many of you who sort of grew up with Back to the Future, but yeah, there's a lot of you. And that's sort of been influencing me in a lot of the things that I've been making. Things that don't work, but they look like they could have been in Back to the Future. Also, some mentioned Leonardo da Vinci. He was sort of, as a 17, 16-year-old, I was really fascinated by both the way he could draw, but also his inventions. So that was an influence as well. And for the last few years, where I've been more aware of the actual maker movement, Adam Savage has been sort of a very great influence as well. This is a sketch note I made when I was in Austin last year at South by Southwest. I was lucky enough to listen to his keynote speech. And a few of the things he said is sort of stringing or resonating with my thoughts and how I live and make stuff. I have a motto that I sort of go after, and that's quantity is equal quality. The more I make, the bigger the chance is that something is going to be great. And the same goes for kids. The more kids you get, the bigger the chance is that someone becomes a lawyer or a doctor or something that secures your own future. I have my son here today. He's not going to be either, so it's sort of, and my wife says no. I've been making things for many years, but I've been very sort of, going from drawing to digital. I've been making stuff more and more digitally, but still sort of keeping both feet, or each feet in each world. For every project I make, I almost always make websites. I think websites are a really great way to sort of frame things. I make logos, I can make movies, I can make small stories, and so on. So I think this is a couple of years back, but today I think I have about 55 websites that I'm paying for each year. Not updating each year, but at least paying for them. I've been, with the stuff that I've been making digitally, I've also made it available on the net, and with some success, not maybe financially, but I've made a font that's been downloaded 3 million times. So I'm now trying to sort of see how I can tap into that with other projects as well, and maybe, getting a little bit more of a cut. Getting into the crazy stuff, before I get into the making of objects. my son shakes his head now because this project is based on my dog's poo. It's in Norway, you know, often minus degrees, way below zero, of course. So a couple of winters ago, it was 25 minus, and I was given the task of cleaning up the garden. I found these. 25 minus is very cold, but they get sticky when you have woolen mittens. But while doing this, I saw shapes of letters popping out. So this is going to be a font soon called Shitface. I'm collecting things all the time. I've been collecting these for years, and you know, they've just been piling up. But a few years back, I came up with this one. And now, whenever I fly and it's clean, I wear it on the plane. So it's sort of my good luck charm. Of sort of, you know, growing up in the 80s in Norway, it's fantastic. It's the only country in the world who made a law against riding skateboards. You were not allowed to ride skateboards in Norway, either ride them or buy them, sell them, anything. So my skateboarding career was a little bit hampered by that, but I started skateboarding again when I was 32. I was allowed if I put all the protection gear on, and the first summer was pretty embarrassing. I was, you know, practicing back and forth on the ramp, and one of these days I was doing that. A 13-year-old something was looking at me, and he was sitting there, and when I took a break, he came over and he was like, "Why do you suck? You got a beard, you got full protection, and you're like 32. But that sort of gave me, you know, the notion of not being great and at least trying. So that's sort of something that did make me stronger, I would say. I was lucky enough to have a year and a half in San Francisco after doing a couple of years of schooling in Norway. And the one class I failed in, I got this sentence with me. And that's think it, make it, and move on. And I've been using that sentence for what it's worth. I'm a teacher at Oslo Architecture and Design School. And one of the reasons why I said yes to the job was their workshops. They're fantastic. But it took me a little while to get into them. But I finally was able to join a course with the other students. I was the only teacher. This was the night of first time welding. Pretty proud. 2 hours later, I looked like this. Not sad, but just weld. I'm not sure, in Norway you say sveiseblind, weld blind. It's the worst night I've ever had. It was such a bad experience. I was at a friend's place, and I had to walk around in his house the whole night. I could not close my eyes. If I did, I had to open them. It was just horrendous. So somehow, I'm sort of feeling like the worst maker in the room, and I am probably. And the one other thing that sort of plays into that field is that I often got the question, why are you making this? What's this for? So I've come up with this Norwegian word, which I think is pretty good, because it's put together by two words, why and because. Because people ask me, why do you do this? And I have no better answer than I just have to, because there's no other reason. So a couple of projects from that arena is I came to the realization that at the end of my lifespan, I'll have used 1 week cleaning my ears. It's like it takes 19 seconds to clean both my ears. So if I do that every day, a whole life, I've spent a week doing that. So I've come up with the Speedy Ear 2000. It cuts the time down to half. This thing works, and but it's got some health risks as well. I just, you know, since I might be the worst maker today, I brought some giveaways. So these are sort of the, these are the refills for the speed ear. I've sent Johnson & Johnson a letter informing them that I want to go into a partnership with them. Haven't had any response on that. I had to bring this slide in from the last speaker talking about patents. Of course, there's a patent for it. I haven't spent the money sending it in. But anyway, I'm going to talk about, for the remaining time, 3 different areas that I think is of interest for you. The first one is Pronto. It's one of the things where I'm doing things to get my hands dirty. And these projects often start with a simple sketch, but I try not to make them more detailed or better than that. I want to go straight into making it. And, you know, as the title goes, I make it, and then often it breaks. And I make these movies that are intended as proof of concept. I have to show them to my wife so she doesn't, you know, think I'm just wasting time. I'm not very good at tennis either. The thing is, I see things that I need, but I often can't afford them. So this is, you know, one of the crude and simple time-lapse installations that I've made, where I can, you know, have video made time-lapse, both moving and going around. So here's a short little clip. Let's see. So you see, it's moving. I sat there for an hour probably to make it work. This one is sort of related to Anna, who's in the other room doing the printmaking. I've been into printmaking for a long time, but it started out with silk screening, and it's gone on to other stuff as well. Been buying block type from eBay. But these machines are really huge, expensive, and so on, so I've made my own. A short proof of concept again. So this was just, you know, to get the letters fixed, and then being able to have them printed and hand labor when getting the letters onto the paper. It's you don't want to ask me how much it costs to make posters. It's too expensive. But it works. Yep. This is another thing. I do free diving down in Hvaler, south of Oslo. And one of the things, you know, you want to go to locations that is a bit far from the road or where the car is. So came up with this trolley. Also something I probably could have bought somewhere, but it's really nice to make it. So again, proof of concept, and this time in slow motion. Oh, look at that. This thing was also, you know, I had to modify it at least 3 times before it actually worked. So, and here we have a total useless thing called the egg lamp. But I've actually made a batch of 8, and it's an egg lamp. And a short proof of concept as well. Oh, come on. Yeah, backwards film is fun. Yeah. I have it with me here, so if you want to test it afterwards, you can. One at a time. Okay, so when I'm done here today, I unfortunately can't be with you on the farewell party because I have to go down to Fredrikstad to an art opening. And I just wanted to show one of the installations that I'm having there. This is something that I made a year ago. I'm not sure if you recognize the shape and what this could be. Now it's sort of probably dawning on you. It's a sunflower seeder. And it's a piece of, in a series of weapons of mass enjoyment. So this one actually has, you know, the depth of 2 centimeters, and I can shoot seeds into the ground without anyone sort of noticing. Or maybe they will. Most of these projects are endorsed by my wife. Pronto is one of the websites that I put things up. Moving on to another project called Skatefins. This one is all about photoshopped skateboards, big in the container. This project is based on me finding these skateboards that somebody had thrown away. I thought none of it. I just thought I need to take this with me. I'm not sure what I will use it for. But then I came up with the idea that I could use them as snowboards. So a little while back, I started making these fins and, you know, testing it out. Jon, when did we start? Did we start like 5 past? Do you have? Okay, good. Because again, proof of concept. This one is a little bit longer, so I might, you know, shorten it a little bit down. But it's we'll see how much time we have.
Okay, people, British lads, let's get ready to rock.
Fade the bass up, Harry. That's it. Tony, Charlie, Ian.
Well, the people were up as the nights came down, and they blew the lights in old London town. They would learn to dance to a crazy ska sound, introduced to Dr. Mudden by some two-tone clown. That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There were people looking from Paris, France, and they stripped right down to the underpants. They were swinging from the lamps like they wanted more, so I dropped my baggy trousers and played my horn like that. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is sort of an experiment for me just to see how I can pull this through. And for me, you know, taking it from 2D sketches in Illustrator and first time doing it in plexiglass didn't work very well. The welding did fine, but now we're on to 3D printed prototypes, and hopefully there's going to be things happening. But for me, this has sort of been a journey into real making of a maybe real product. So this one sort of takes me through all these different steps. And for me, you know, only knowing Illustrator, I had to make people do the 3D files for me, and so on. And what I realized is that it takes a long time, even though these are really stupid, small fins. It's taken me not that much money, but it's taken me quite a lot of time. And I've realized that with the help of friends and other people that I meet discussing these things, things go a little bit smoother. And this is sort of how it looks now. We'll just zoom in on the sort of history here. So this one was printed yesterday, and it clicked. It actually worked. So now it's uploaded to Shapeways. So one last test there, and then I'm looking into ways of actually making it happen. Last thing I'm going to talk about, which I hope most of you are also agreeing on, is the need for us repairing stuff and stuff being able to be repaired. This is just an example. This is the leash for my dog. It's totally useless when it's broken like this, but it's only, you know, the rope is off, but there's no way I can get into it. It's glued together and no screws to unscrew. So this is sort of one of the things that really pisses me off. I'm a big fan of gaffer tape. Anyone else? Yeah? There's so many of you, and I'm the free guy today. This one is for the lucky ones. You know, I've been really inspired by these guys. They already have manifestos, they already have systems for this. So what I want to do is sort of work on I have this big vision of making this mark logo that producers can put on their goods to tell me if a product is repairable or not. That's sort of the main long way goal. The other goal is to make us as a community better fixers, you know, realizing what we can fix and not fix, and together make these things more easy to fix. To make this sort of idea tangible, I've sort of gone into seeing how can I make my gaffer tape even more usable. And I was thinking that, I can make this, you know, little box that I can put all these other useful things into. And then I came up with these lids that I can actually put on my gaffer. So now I have like gaffer as a box with all of these things. And then you can, you know, put whatever you want in there. I've got free stuff as well here. There's like a sticker on one side and then, okay. So the one thing I'm working on now is a website where I'm trying to collect all these things together. And there's three parts. There's us, or you guys, heroes, making things and fixing things. Then there's hopefully producers soon that will understand that we want stuff that can be fixed and opened and at least try to fix it. And then I'm also hoping to make some kind of app where you can localize people fixing things for you if it's too hard or so. So in a few years' time, maybe you can find this little, you know, thingy on your iPhone. That would be nice. So hopefully spread the word on that. And just one last thing is in Fredrikstad, I've moved there a few years back, but there's a great potential in maker spaces down there. So I'm starting up a hackspace.no, and I've talked to some people here, so I'm hoping that I'm getting more business cards and connections. So I'm hoping to make it happen down there. And for those of you who's wondering how my sort of future studio turned out, well, that's sort of my ending note. Thank you.
So we have time for a few questions. Anyone? Yep, back here.
These scaffold lids, did you put them on the Thingiverse or somewhere we can print them?
The lids?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. The thing is, I need someone to help me make the lids.
Do you mind us doing it?
No? That'd be great.
Yeah, good stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Any more questions like that? Ah, shut up. Get your own ride home.
Simple question. How do you have time for all of this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Tell Eva-Lotta that I said this. Well, I have a fantastic wife. Now the thing is, like I said in the description, if I don't make stuff, I do go crazy. So wherever I've lived, I've always made place for some kind of little shed or somewhere where I can easily access stuff. So I don't have to go somewhere. I can do it within sort of, the boundaries of my house. But it's also, having always this sketchbook at hand. And then whenever I have time, I try to do stuff. But it's also having all these things at once, I think, is helping. Once you have 2 or 3 projects, that takes time. But once you have 20, it's sort of, it doesn't feel the same.
Anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much, Hans Gerhard, and good luck with your exhibition tonight.
Thank you.